Hi there, welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk about the key differences between over the counter and exchange traded derivatives. So let's break it down in a way that's easy to understand. Firstly, I just wanted to take a step back and do a little recap on what is a derivative. So, in simple terms, remember derivatives are financial contracts that derive their value from the price of an underlying asset, such as a bond or a stock, for example. So, in practice, each derivative has an underlying asset that is essentially driving and dictating its price. How do we use derivatives? Imagine, for example, that you own shares in a tech company. You may be worried that the stock price may drop dramatically. You could buy an option, for example, which would give you the right to sell your shares at a pre agreed price within a certain time frame. Or another example may be suppose that you run a business in the US and in that business you import goods from Europe and you need to pay your invoices in euro in the next 3 months or so. Your concern may be that euro may become a little bit too expensive in the next months to come. So you can use a forward contract to lock in the current exchange rate so that you know exactly how much you need to pay when it comes to payments in dollars, regardless of the future exchange of rates. So there's another short video that I did on derivatives explaining what they are and just discussing different types. I'll link it down below for you so you could take a look. But going back to main trading approaches when it comes to derivatives or main types, derivatives can be traded over the counter or on an exchange. So we've got the OTC bilateral type and ETD exchange traded derivatives are often referred to also as futures. How do they differ? So, firstly, let's look at the parties involved. So, OTC products are traded bilaterally between two parties to the contract. So, in a typical scenario or OTC contract, you would have a bank, which is a sell side entity, party A, and then party B would be an asset manager or a hedge fund, so your buy side entity. ETD or futures trading involves another party, an exchange, who becomes the counterparty for each and every transaction once the initial trade has been done. So, the purpose of this is to reduce the risk of default and ensure really that all the payments under each ETD contract are made. Next difference is the ability to customize. So, OTC derivatives are famous for being highly customizable. That's why the market loves them and uses them so frequently. Just like you can negotiate the price and quantity of tomatoes that you buy, from a farmer, you can tailor the terms of your OTC contract to meet your specific bespoke needs. What these may be would vary depending on client, on number of different factors, jurisdiction of each parties, entity types involved, the bargaining powers of the parties. What is important to remember is that they are fully customizable, can be tailored, and that means in respect of underlying assets, maturity dates, payment terms, etc. Now, contrary to that, exchange traded products, so your futures, have standardized terms and set prices. So, contrary to our visit to a market, if you're buying futures contract for oil or on an exchange, everyone knows the quantity, delivery days in advance. It's just like going to a shop and seeing the prices of groceries neatly displayed. Also, you don't get to negotiate the prices at the till with the goods in your basket. So they're set, pre-arranged, and everyone knows what they're buying. You can either buy them at the displayed price or not. Now, the third main difference is the level of transparency, obviously, with each type of derivative. So, obviously, OTC products being privately negotiated, they're fully confidential and allow the parties to agree bespoke terms that meet their specific requirements. Trading on exchange adds an additional level and layer of transparency. So you can see the latest price, you can execute trades very quickly. It's literally like walking into the shop, grabbing items off the shelf and checking out at the till. OTC is different. The OTC products allow the parties to come up with their own terms, their own prices, and these are not publicly displayed. So as a consequence, you can imagine trading OTC carries a lot more counterparty risk because there is that private arrangement, whereas trading ETD is said to be less risky and the parties benefit from the exchange oversight. Now, the final difference I wanted to mention, which is really important to all of us lawyers, is the documentation. So the cornerstone, obviously, of the is the master sorry of the OTC documents is the master agreements, my sweet spot. So you trade OTC using an is the master agreement. If you want to trade OTC products, you need to negotiate an ISDA and all the terms and conditions that flow from the ISDA master agreement. So for those who are not familiar with ISDAs, it outlines the general terms and conditions that govern the relationship and all the transactions between the parties. It's a framework bilateral contract and includes provisions on payments terms, default events, termination rights, etc. So allows you to agree a clear framework for multiple trades. For exchange traded products, these are highly regulated and they come with a suite of legal arrangements that is often dictated by the exchange itself. So, if you want to trade futures, you actually need to enter into a futures agreement, which is standardized industry agreement, and it's issued by Futures Industry Association, FIA. As previously mentioned, the exchange becomes the counterparty to every trade and transaction. So it's not only that we've got more parties involved in the documentation, but also negotiations are very limited and restricted to certain points that are specific to futures, like concentration limits, for example, position limits. And the entire legal framework for futures is a little bit more complex and detailed. Now, that's it for me today. There is another slide here that you can see that summarizes the key takeaways from these short presentations. I will link the slides down below so you can take a look again at your own time. And I hope you found this video helpful. Give us a thumbs up if you do, and subscribe for more derivatives documentation insights and real industry know-how. Thank you so much for watching, and happy negotiating.